It's Friday morning, and we're arriving in Fajana, a small fishing town from where ferries depart every year for the Brijuni Islands. We're taking the first morning boat to make the most of our trip. If you're planning a visit here too, here's a practical parking tip. For several years now, we've been parking on Vladimira Gortana Street. It's only about a 7-minute walk to the harbor from there. Since it's the last day of May, we're lucky. Parking is cheaper than in the high season, and the same goes for tickets. Instead of the summer price of €50, you'll pay just $35 per adult. Tickets for Brijuni can also be purchased directly on site. But beware! Even now, at the end of May, all tickets for today were sold out. We therefore recommend booking in advance, ideally online. Before boarding the ferry, you can, just like us, quickly stop by the local bakery and take something with you. On the island, the food options are quite limited, with practically only one larger restaurant. And where exactly does the ferry depart from? You'll see that in our video. Welcome to Brijuni, a unique archipelago that today is one of Croatia's 8 national parks. While Brijuni now attracts visitors with its natural beauty, tranquility, and historical monuments, the islands have been inhabited since ancient times. The first traces of human presence here go back to Roman times. You can still find the remains of an extensive Roman villa rustica from the 1st century AD in Varege Bay. Its likely owner was a wealthy Roman patrician named Lucius Cassius Longinus, known from epigraphic finds in the area. The villa had its own harbor, baths, gardens, and a sanctuary. From a later period, the so-called Byzantine Castrum has been preserved, a fortified complex that served as an administrative and military center when Istria was part of the Byzantine Empire. Its walls and the remains of residential and economic buildings still remind us that Brijuni held strategic importance even in the Middle Ages. In the second half of the 19th century, Brijuni suffered from malaria, until Austrian industrialist Paul Kupelwieser bought the entire archipelago and, with the help of the famous Dr. Robert Koch, carried out extensive sanitation of the area. Thanks to draining the swamps and fighting mosquitoes, The islands were transformed into a luxurious resort for the European elite. In March 1912, Brijuni even welcomed an important guest, Archduchess Maria Josepha of Saxony, mother of the future Emperor Charles I and the last king of Bohemia. By the end of the 19th century, Brijuni had become a place of cultural and social events, including the reopening of the Romanesque Church of St. German, attended by prominent guests of the Habsburg monarchy. This small, unassuming single-nave church was built back in 1481 and is dedicated to Bishop and Martyr Saint Germanus of Pula, who was executed during the reign of Emperor Diocletian. It stands in the central part of the island. Although it no longer serves as an active place of worship, the church is still maintained and is often used for small exhibitions or cultural events. On the western coast of Veliki Brijun Island, you'll find a silent witness to history, one of the oldest olive trees in all of Croatia. This massive tree has been growing here for more than 1,600 years, dating back to the time when Brijuni belonged to the Romans. It still bears olives today, and a small amount of olive oil is pressed from them each year. Its hollow trunk and expansive crown symbolize the connection between nature and history, and it's definitely worth a short stop during your visit to the island. Next to the 1,000-year-old olive tree, you'll find another spot that you can visit either on its own or as the final stop of a guided tour. The Mediterranean Garden, a quiet corner of the island that attracts both botany enthusiasts and those looking to relax in nature. This garden was established in 2007 in cooperation with the Croatian Institute of Plant Biology, and today it is home to more than 170 species of Mediterranean, subtropical, and endemic plants, from lavender and rosemary to rare types of palms, citrus trees, and oleanders. The aim of this garden is not only aesthetics, but also education and biodiversity conservation. There are information boards describing individual plants, benches for resting, and well-maintained paths that guide you through the different sections. The garden is just a few minutes' walk from the main tourist route and is freely accessible to all island visitors. Whether you want to learn something about the local flora or simply relax for a while in the shade of pines and cypresses, this is a place you definitely shouldn't miss. The most famous resident of the Brijuni Islands was undoubtedly Josip Broz Tito, the charismatic leader of former Yugoslavia who loved the archipelago so much that he spent almost every summer here. Tito began visiting the islands regularly in 1947 and, over his lifetime, spent more than 30 years here. In his main residence in the middle of the park, he welcomed prominent world leaders, artists, and friends. His guests included figures like Fidel Castro, Indira Gandhi, Haile Selassie, Elizabeth Taylor, and Sophia Loren. Tito traveled around the islands in his iconic green Cadillac Eldorado, which you can still see today, not only as a museum piece, but also available for rent, though the price is far from negligible. This luxurious convertible was a gift from Yugoslav emigrants in Canada and became a symbol of Tito's presence on Brijuni. And it wasn't just cars that Tito received. As a token of respect and friendship, many countries sent him exotic animals: elephants, zebras, llamas, antelopes, and ostriches. These gifts became the foundation of today's popular safari park, which is now one of the island's main attractions. The safari park was established in 1961, and you can still see animals there that are descendants of the original diplomatic gifts. Tito's presence forever changed the islands. Thanks to his passion for nature, wildlife, and social life, Brijuni became a unique blend of national park and political heritage. Let's take a look at the transportation options on the islands. If you choose a guided ticket, you'll be assigned to a group based on your selected language right at the start. Then you'll set off on a sightseeing tour by train, which takes you through selected parts of the island, mainly the safari park we've already mentioned. After you get off, your guide will take you to the Churche of St. Tito's summer residence, the memorial plaque to Dr. Robert Koch, past the 1,000-year-old olive tree, the remains of the Roman villa, and in some cases, even to the Mediterranean garden we talked about earlier. On the other hand, the Byzantine fortress, the lookout tower, or one of the last two animal witnesses of Tito, Koki the parrot, you'll have to find on your own. Since Brijuni is home to one of the largest and oldest golf courses in Europe, it's probably no surprise that one of the transport options is a golf cart. This is especially worthwhile if you're a group of 4. If you're traveling as a couple, you'll probably find an electric scooter more cost-effective. In any case, it's best to reserve these vehicles in advance during the high season. The last option, besides your own 2 feet, is a classic bicycle. Note, not electric. So if, like us, you decide to cycle around the island, be prepared to pedal the whole way. On the other hand, with a price of €8 per hour per person, you probably won't mind if you take an extra hour or 2. One practical tip to finish. If you just want to rent a classic bike, don't wait in line at the wooden booth. That's where payments for returning scooters and golf carts or new reservations are handled. For bikes, go to the small table about 3 meters away. One of the most fascinating places you can visit on Brijuni is the aviary with a parrot named Koki. This white cockatoo is the last truly living resident of the island who still remembers the days when Josip Broz Tito spent his summers here. Koki was originally a gift for the president and lived right in the presidential villa. According to witnesses, he still mimics the human voice, even coughing like Tito did, and sometimes letting out a rather rude remark. He's a bit grumpy, but definitely worth seeing. To visit Koki, you'll need to walk. His aviary is about 1 kilometer from where you get off the train. That's if you find the right path, because even with tourist signs, it's not always straightforward. On your way, you'll also pass one of the most historically important places on the island, a freshwater spring, which meant Brijuni didn't have to rely entirely on supplies from the mainland in the past. This was one of the reasons Tito chose the island as his summer residence. One of the lesser-known but beautiful spots on Veliki Brijun is a viewpoint facing the sea. It's located near the remains of the Byzantine Castrum and offers peace, quiet, and a wide view of the open Adriatic. After returning from Brijuni, we stopped for a while in Fajna. The town itself isn't very big. It only takes us about 30 minutes to explore. We still have time for a coffee and watch other visitors getting ready for their own trips to the islands. This time, we spent 6 hours on Brijuni, about the same as every year. Honestly, we think that's the ideal amount of time to walk around, enjoy everything at your own pace, and not feel rushed.